はい、では時間になりましたので始めたいと思います。皆さんこんにちは。このセミナーは ExaminIrks というタイトルの米国特許セミナーで、各週火曜日のランチタイムにお届けしています。講師は特許弁護士であるブライアン・エプスタインさんです。ブライアンさんにつきましては、第2回目の冒頭で簡単なプロフィールをご紹介していますので、ぜひそちらをご覧ください。今回は第3回目で、前回に引き続き USPTO の審査官とのインタビューがテーマとなっています。今回のタイトルは Unfamiliar Representatives となっています。Unfamiliar は、不慣れなとか熟知していないといった意味で、Representative は代理人という意味です。そして、これらをつなげた Unfamiliar Representatives は、代理人が技術内容を熟知していないということが意図されていまして、そういう代理人がいるという、興味深いセミナーになっています。そして、技術内容について、熟知していないことのデメリット、逆に熟知していることのメリットについてブライアンさんに解説していただきます。ではブライアンさんに詳しくお話しいただきたいと思います。Okay, Brian, first of all, the term unfamiliar can mean many things. For example, do you mean that the representatives are unfamiliar with the technology?
Yeah, so representatives sometimes don't know our technology very well. We are generalists. We take our clients from the public, and if a client comes to us for assistance, we need to be able to handle any technology at a basic level. However, many technologies are quite complex, and we have to learn it as part of our job. And so our initial unfamiliarity with normal and okay. However, as these technologies become complex or the issues become more subtle, unfamiliarity with a particular technology can lead to prosecution. So, for example, the application might describe something that is inherent to the prior art. And if you are an unfamiliar attorney, you won't know that this is something that must be present in the prior art. Of course, this idea is more general than just inherency. It also reaches questions of what is and is not obvious in a particular art. And it can also address what is and is not well known in an art. And so examiners get upset when their attorneys are unfamiliar with the technology. It creates this difficulty in reasoning with the attorney, because the attorney is trying to do a good job. They're requiring the examiner to provide evidence for their views, but maybe it's just not meaningful because the attorney is, like I said, demanding evidence of things that are inherent or well known in the art. And so the way to address this problem is for attorneys or in-house counsel or for intermediary attorneys to consolidate technology portfolios with particular representatives. And so what I mean by that, for example, is choosing a small group of attorneys, maybe 1 to 2 attorneys at, maybe 3 or 4 law firms that handle a particular technology portfolio. In some cases, this might just be a product line, but more generally, it's going to be to relate to the technology itself rather than the particular products that implement this technology. And so this familiarity with the technology gives the representatives some perspective and therefore more meaningful amendments. The representatives don't waste their time pursuing well-known or inherent features. In addition, it gives the representatives some familiarity with their examiners. There are examiners I know that are more likely to grant broad claims. I know some examiners are more likely to drag out prosecution, and if I make it a goal to amend at every office action, maybe I'm surrendering unnecessary subject matter with that particular examiner, because I know that that examiner basically will allow the case when they're ready, and there's not a whole lot I can do to really advance that. It gives me a sense of what kinds of amendments a particular examiner likes, or their view of 101 or means plus function. And so, you get a sense of what your examiners like, because the examiners are, focus on a particular technology, and those are some of the benefits of familiarity with a particular technology.
Okay. はい。ここまで、代理人が、技術内容に習熟することによる、代理人側のメリットについて解説いただきました。その一つとして、例えば、特定の審査官についてよく知ることができるということでした。では次に、審査官側には何かメリットがあるのかどうか、これについて後半のセクションで解説いただきます。So, Brian-san, you explained some of the advantages of representatives working with the same examiners. Are there any advantages to examiners working with the same representatives?
Yeah, definitely. One of the major things that examiners complain about with regards to particular attorneys is that sometimes we unknowingly have odd interactions. So I guess the best way to handle this is to give an example. And this is one that I was recently told is a little awkward. So I have a habit of, when I begin my interviews, asking my examiners if now is still a convenient time for the interview. And I think that's just a courtesy, because life is complicated, particularly in 2020. And, a lot of us are working from home, and things come up, and maybe this is not a good time for our interview. But I was told that that this can seem a little awkward, that if the examiner believed that this was a bad time, they would say something. And so maybe it just seems a little inappropriate for the interview. And so that's what I mean when I say that representatives might say innocent things that bother a particular examiner. Certainly, some of my examiners understand the sentiment or the feeling with which I offer that comment. Other examiners feel like that's a little bit rude, which was quite surprising to me. And so that's an issue. In addition, part of our job as client representatives is to follow the instructions from our clients. And so if we receive an awkward instruction from a intermediary law firm or from an applicant that, maybe we personally don't agree with, but, that's what our client says. And so that's what we will present. It might make the examiner question the applicant or the representative. Maybe the examiner thinks that the representative doesn't understand the technology or the art or the rejection, and that's not true, and it creates a friction that both the examiner and the representative need to move past. And so there's a huge benefit to being familiar to your examiner. The benefit, of course, is that you earn a reputation by working with them. Just like you can get a reputation for being unreasonable, representatives can be known for being reasonable. I've definitely had multiple applications with the same examiner. Sometimes I receive client instructions and my examiner's wonders why I'm arguing a certain way. Other times I get a little bit more discretion from my clients, and my examiners see that I am trying to adopt a middle ground. And so you can earn this reputation for being reasonable. And as a result, I think, your examiners are more willing to consider particular viewpoints that you assert during your interviews. And that's a huge benefit because examiners are more likely to assist reasonable representatives. If you come in and you're a little bit of a jerk to your examiner and the examiner knows that, maybe changing a word or two will get the case allowed, they might not help you. But if you come in and you're known for being reasonable, the examiner knows you're trying to move the cases forward. You're trying to strike a good middle ground between a good middle ground that really satisfies the needs of your clients, then I find that the examiners are much more likely to assist. They want to give you the small amendment that will move the case towards allowance. They want to look through the specification a little bit more to propose an examiner's amendment or to consider an alternate wording that might overcome the art.
Okay, so both the examiners and the representatives benefit from consolidating technology portfolios with particular representatives. I see. Thank you.
That's exactly right.
はい、ブライアンさんありがとうございました。解説では、特定技術のポートフォリオを特定の代理人に集中させることにより、審査官にも代理人にもメリットがあるということでした。はい、今回はこれで以上なんですが、質問や使ってほしいトピックなどがありましたら、YouTube のコメント欄に書いていただくか、スライド最後に記載のメールアドレスまでお気軽にご連絡ください。日本語でも英語でも構いません。はい、では本日もありがとうございました。失礼します。
ありがとうございました。